Awakening the Forgotten. The Galzari Collective had ruled the stars for nearly 2 millennia, their crystalline ships gliding between systems with the arrogant ease of unchallenged conquerors. For Science Director Nev Kar, the mission to catalog Sector 7 Delta was merely routine, another assignment mapping forgotten debris at the edge of known space. His research vessel, the Luminous Inquiry, had been scanning the same asteroid field for 3 standard cycles, finding nothing but cosmic dust and frozen rock. Director, we're detecting unusual energy patterns from that larger asteroid, reported his sensor officer, pointing to a holographic display where a pulsing red dot highlighted their discovery. Nevkar's translucent appendages rippled with curiosity. Magnify and analyze. The image expanded, revealing what appeared to be a perfectly spherical asteroid, too perfect to be natural. Its surface was scarred by micrometeorite impacts, but beneath the cosmic weathering, geometric patterns were visible. It's artificial, Nevkar whispered, 8 eyes widening. And ancient. His excitement grew as scanners revealed more. The structure was constructed from materials no current civilization could produce, alloys resistant to both time and the harsh vacuum of space. Even more intriguing were the faint energy signatures emanating from within. Prepare a research team, he ordered. We'll document this finding thoroughly before reporting to Central Command. The landing party approached the sphere cautiously, cutting through the outer hull with precision lasers. The metal resisted their tools with surprising resilience before finally yielding. Inside, they found corridors lined with dormant technology, covered in a language none of their translators recognized. These symbols, said Senolinguist Tav, his voice hushed with reverence. They match fragments from the ancient archives. This is human. The word sent a ripple of unease through the team. Humans were little more than myths now. Violent, brilliant creatures that had burned across the galaxy like a supernova before mysteriously vanishing 5 millennia ago. Most species considered them cautionary tales, not historical fact. Deep within the facility, Nevkar's team discovered a central chamber where a single stasis pod stood intact, its surface frosted with ice despite the internal systems still functioning. Data screens beside it displayed vital signs. Hibernating, but alive. Is that? Tav couldn't finish the question. Nevkar approached the pod, fascination overriding caution, a preserved human specimen. The scientific value is incalculable. His appendage brushed against a control panel, leaving a smear of bioluminescent fluid across the ancient interface. The reaction was immediate. Lights throughout the facility blazed to life, systems reactivating in cascading sequence. The stasis pod's surface cleared, revealing a figure within, a female human, her face composed even in suspended animation. Alarms blared. The facility was awakening, and with it, its occupant. The team retreated in panic as the pod began its revival sequence, but Nevkar remained, transfixed by the historical moment unfolding before him. The pod opened with a hiss of escaping gases. The human's eyes snapped open, dark pupils focusing with unnerving speed. She sat up, movements precise despite 5,000 years of inactivity. Her gaze locked onto Nevkar, assessing, calculating. "You've made a mistake," she said in perfect Galzari, the language somehow already mastered by whatever systems had monitored their presence. "My name is Commander Elena Shaw, Earth Defense Force. What year is it?" When Nevkar explained how much time had passed, the human's expression remained unnervingly neutral. "And humanity. Our worlds. Legends," Nevkar admitted. "Stories to frighten children. Most believe you never existed at all." A muscle in Elena's jaw tightened, the only visible reaction. "Show me everything." Within hours, Elena had assimilated 5 millennia of galactic history. She learned how the Galzari and 6 other species had formed the collective after humanity's disappearance, dividing former human territories between them. How they had systematically erased evidence of human achievements, rewriting history to minimize humanity's contributions to galactic civilization. They feared us even after we were gone, Alina observed, reviewing historical archives Nevker had provided. Interesting. The station, designated Sentinel Outpost Lambda by Alina, was now fully operational, its fusion reactors generating enough power to be visible across neighboring systems. Communications arrays broadcast on frequencies unused for millennia, seeking responses from other human installations. Nevkar realized too late what they had unleashed. "You must understand," he pleaded as Alina accessed weapon systems. "The galaxy has known peace for centuries. Whatever conflict your people fought, this isn't about revenge," Alina interrupted, her voice calm as she activated dormant satellite defenses around the outpost. "This is about survival and correction of the historical record." News of humanity's return spread across the collective like a shockwave. Emergency councils convened, military vessels redirected, politicians issued reassurances even as they privately prepared for war. Alina showed Nevker the truth his people had buried, records of the final conflict. How the collective's ancestors had united not out of noble purpose, but from fear of humanity's rapid expansion. How they had launched a surprise attack against Earth and its colonies, using biological weapons designed to target the human genome. "We didn't disappear," Alina explained, her fingers dancing across control panels. "We implemented the Omega Protocol, seeding the galaxy with outposts like this one, each containing a handful of humans in stasis, protected by automated defenses. We knew someday someone would find us, and we would have our second chance." Sensors detected approaching collective warships. Alina seemed unconcerned. "I'm not a warmonger, Director Nevker. I was a scientist before I was a soldier. But your collective built its foundation on genocide and lies. That cannot stand." The outpost's defensive grid activated as the first collective ships entered the system. Energy weapons that hadn't fired in 5 millennia lashed out with perfect precision, disabling propulsion systems without destroying the vessels. "A warning shot," Alina explained, "the first of many." Throughout the facility, additional systems came online. Communication signals strengthened, broadcasting across previously abandoned frequencies. Deep in space, other outposts were responding, awakening from their own millennia-long slumber. "I'm not alone," Alina said, a faint smile crossing her features as confirmation signals appeared on her displays. Humanity never puts all its eggs in one basket. Nevkar watched as the human commander initiated a full system-wide broadcast, her message directed not just to the approaching collective forces, but to every inhabited world within range. "To all species of the galaxy," she began, her voice steady, "humanity has returned from its enforced slumber. We do not seek vengeance for the crimes committed against us, but we will reclaim our rightful place among the stars. Any attempt to interfere will be met with overwhelming force. We remember everything. And now, you will remember us." As the message concluded, long dormant defense satellites positioned throughout the system activated simultaneously, revealing a web of human technology that had been hiding in plain sight for millennia. Alina turned to Nevker, her expression softening slightly. "Your curiosity awakened me, Director. For that, I'm grateful. Now you have a choice to make. Will you stay and learn the truth about human history, or return to your people and repeat the lies they've told for generations?" Nevker's appendages rippled with indecision. Everything he believed about galactic history had been upended in a single day. "The truth," he finally said, "however uncomfortable it may be." Alina nodded. "A wise choice, because humanity isn't just returning. We're rewriting the narrative. And this time, we won't be erased." Throughout the galaxy, other human outposts were awakening, their dormant guardians rising from artificial sleep. The age of denial was over. The age of humanity had begun again. The reckoning. The emergency session of the Collective High Council had lasted for 40 consecutive hours. Representatives from all 7 member species argued bitterly, each blaming the others for the catastrophe unfolding across their carefully ordered galaxy. Supreme Arbiter HFY struggled to maintain order as reports continued to arrive. More human outposts activating, more defensive systems coming online, more broadcasts declaring humanity's return. "The Tory sector has gone completely dark," announced the military coordinator, his carapace clicking nervously. "We've lost contact with 14 colonies and 6 fleet detachments." "Have the humans attacked?" demanded the collective prime. "That's the disturbing part," the coordinator replied. "They haven't destroyed anything. They've simply taken control. Each installation, each colony, each fleet, all report the same pattern. Human defense systems activate, neutralize resistance with minimal casualties, then broadcast historical records contradicting our official archives." HFY's wings fluttered with agitation. "They're fighting an information war, not a physical one." "Which is worse," the knowledge minister interjected. "They're undermining 5,000 years of carefully constructed narrative, the foundation of the collective itself." In the Sentinel outpost Lambda, Alina Shaw monitored these developments with grim satisfaction. 17 human facilities had reactivated across the galaxy, each implementing the protocols she had initiated. None had fired the first shot. None had caused unnecessary casualties. But none had shown mercy to those who resisted. "Director Nevkar," she called to the Galzari scientist who had remained at the outpost, "I'd like your assessment of the collective's likely response." Nevkar had spent weeks reviewing the unfiltered historical archives, comparing them to the sanitized version he had been taught. The evidence was irrefutable. The collective had been founded on a genocide and sustained by lies. "They'll try diplomacy first," he predicted. "Offer recognition, reparations, territory. When that fails, they'll attempt a coordinated military strike against all known human outposts simultaneously. It's their standard protocol for species that resist assimilation." Elena nodded. "And how would you rate their chances?" "Against technology 5 millennia more advanced than they realize exists." "Negligible." The communication alert sounded. The Lena accepted the transmission, and a holographic image of Admiral Cassandra Way appeared, commander of the human outpost in the Orion Spur. "Status report, Admiral." "Better than expected," Cassandra replied. "We've established contact with 37 sleeper cells within collective territory. More importantly, we've confirmed rumors of surviving human colonies beyond the galactic rim. Apparently, some ships escaped the initial purge and established settlements outside collective scanning range." Elena's composure cracked for the first time, hope lighting her eyes. "How many survivors?" "Millions. They'd spent 5,000 years building in secret, developing their technology, waiting for the signal to return. They intercepted our awakening broadcast. They're coming home, Commander." This changed everything. What had begun as a mission of remembrance and reclamation was now something more, a genuine rebirth. The collective's diplomatic overture arrived the next day. Their representatives approached under flags of truce, offering formal recognition of humanity as a sovereign species, substantial territorial concessions, and a truth and reconciliation process to amend historical inaccuracies. Elena received them in the outpost's command center, now transformed into an imposing hall. The collective diplomats presented their terms with flowery language about peace and shared prosperity. When they finished, Elena's response was simple, insufficient. "What more could you possibly want?" demanded the lead negotiator, avexed with iridescent scales that pulsed with indignation. "Justice," Elena replied. "Accountability for genocide, and the complete dissolution of the collective governing structure that perpetuated these lies for 5 millennia." The diplomats departed in outrage. As predicted, the military strike followed, a coordinated assault against all known human outposts. Massive fleets emerged from faster-than-light travel, weapons primed, expecting to overwhelm the scattered human facilities through sheer numbers. They found nothing. The outposts had vanished, leaving only automated beacons broadcasting the same message. Did you really think we'd stay where you could find us? The true location of human command was revealed 6 hours later when every collective capital world detected massive structures materializing in orbit. Human installations that had used forgotten technology to shift their positions across the galaxy in synchronized precision. Elena addressed the collective leaders directly from her position above their homeworld. You came to eradicate us. We came to educate you. The difference speaks volumes. Before the collective could respond, the tide turned again. Ships appeared at the galaxy's edge, thousands of them, of human design, but unlike anything in the historical records. The hidden colonies had arrived, bringing with them technologies developed in isolation, free from the constraints of collective influence. "This is Admiral Harrison Chen of the Free Human Alliance," announced their leader. "We stand with Commander Shaw and all awakened guardians. The reckoning is at hand." What followed wasn't the vengeful slaughter the collective feared, but something far more devastating to their power: a systematic dismantling of their authority. Strategic facilities were neutralized, communication networks severed, historical archives corrected and disseminated to all species. Most damaging was the revelation broadcast to every inhabited world: the truth about the biological weapons used against humanity 5,000 years ago. The same pathogens have been modified and deployed against other species who later challenged collective authority, always disguised as natural plagues. The coalition fractured as member species turned against each other, ancient grievances resurfacing, trust shattered beyond repair. 3 months after Elena Shaw awakened, representatives from all former collective species met aboard the human flagship Phoenix Rising. The humans dictated terms not of surrender, but of transformation, a new galactic concord where no single species or alliance could dominate, where historical records would be maintained with rigid accuracy, where genocide would be punishable by extinction. Elena addressed the gathering, her voice carrying the weight of 5,000 years of patience. Humanity doesn't want revenge. We want recognition. We want respect. But most importantly, we want to ensure that what happened to us never happens to another species again. Director Nevkar, now serving as liaison between humans and his people, watched with mixed emotions. "Your restraint is unexpected," he admitted privately to Elena after the conference, "given what was done to your people." Elena studied the stars visible through the viewport. "If we'd wanted vengeance, we wouldn't have left sentinels to wake us. We'd have left doomsday weapons. The Omega Protocol wasn't about destruction, it was about persistence, about ensuring humanity would have a second chance to do better than both our ancestors and yours." Throughout the galaxy, human colonies were reestablished. Knowledge thought lost forever was recovered and shared. Species that had been oppressed under collective rule found new freedom under human protection. 5,000 years of sleep had not dulled humanity's edge. If anything, it had honed it to perfect sharpness. The galaxy had forgotten the humans existed. Now, they would never forget again. As Elena Shaw stood on the observation deck of the newly commissioned Earth Memorial Station, orbiting the reconstructed homeworld of humanity, she reflected on the improbable journey. From near extinction to galactic power in less than a year. From forgotten legends to architects of a new interstellar order. Was it worth the wait? Asked Admiral Chen, joining her at the viewport. Elena watched as ships from 100 worlds passed below, coming to pay respect at humanity's rebirth. "Ask me again in another 5,000 years, she replied with a smile. "We're just getting started."